As per normal, I seem to be upsetting a few tennis coaches. Welcome, as always, to mytenniscoaching.com and my tennis coaching on YouTube. And yeah, interesting weekend. I seem to be upsetting a few tennis coaches with some of my posts, some of my videos, some of my articles, and that's absolutely fine. And I have no issues with rustling a few feathers or upsetting the apple cart or trying to change the status quo. I think a lot of my work, my posts, my articles come from a good place. And I always stress that it's one, my opinion, but that opinion is backed by some science, some evidence, some research, and by a clear methodology that really tailors towards human movement, how we learn movement skills, skill acquisition, ecological dynamics, ecological psychology, constraint led approach. So that opinion is based in some facts and some science as well. And I completely get it that it upsets quite a few coaches when I say things like isolated practices don't work. I understand when I say 5 signs of a bad tennis coach, copy and paste, work on the same thing with every single player, talk about repetition, talk about muscle memory, talks about perfect technique. Because these are things coaches have done for years, and there seems to be a culture within tennis coaching where you can't highlight things that don't work because you're seen as unprofessional or unethical, and we shouldn't be bad mouthing other coaches, and coaches only know what they know. And I completely get that 100%. And I generally feel sorry at times for coaches who believe a lot of the stuff that they're preaching because they've either been taught it themselves or they've been educated on a course. However, I've now come to the realization that that stuff isn't as effective as I once thought it was, and I've been that coach. And the whole idea of this channel and my work and my articles and stuff is not to tell you how to coach, it's to get you to think about your coaching. And the way the world works, especially online, like if I just put a post out about how great tennis coaching is, it doesn't get any traction. The algorithm doesn't pick it up because no one interacts with it. So you have to be a little bit controversial, you have to push the boundaries a little bit, especially with things like hooks and titles. But then hopefully you deliver the content in a way which just gets people to think. And that's all I'm trying to do. And I understand people get, one, a bit jealous. And it is jealousy because people see the size of my accounts. They see the reach that I'm getting. They see the opportunities that I probably get. Two, it's a bit of insecurity on their behalf as well. Because I'm probably saying stuff that hits home. Like if you're constantly basket feeding and you're shadow swinging and you're talking about muscle memory, and then I'm online saying that stuff's a load of rubbish, there's probably a part of you thinking, well, what happens if my players or parents see that? Are they going to start questioning me? And can I actually back it up with some evidence and research? Probably not. So there's definitely a bit of threat in there as well. But there's a comment I seen, but I got sense because I couldn't see it, about me having a huge ego. And if anyone who knows me, who actually works with me or speaks to me, like I haven't got a huge ego. I said I'm doing this with an intention of trying to help tennis coaches, not to tell you how to coach, not to look at me, I'm so great. And I'm putting videos on of when I get things wrong. I'm putting videos on of me actually coaching players and things go wrong. So those things are quite vulnerable, and that's not a sign of ego. That's a sign of someone who's actually trying to help and make a difference. But I understand as well that you can't please everybody, because I'm trying to change mindsets, I'm trying to change behaviors, I'm trying to change the status quo. It's gonna upset a lot of people, and that's okay. Because at the end of the day, they don't have to listen to me. They can just unsubscribe. They can just block me. They don't have to listen to me. But it's really interesting because the people who have an issue with me, they're following me. They're following me and they're not commenting on my stuff, but they're quite happy to take screenshots and share it and stuff like that. But they're not actually going to get engaged with a conversation, which I welcome. Let's have a conversation. Jump on a video with me. Let's have a debate and we can discuss why closed practices is better than a more ecological way. Tell me why muscle memory is a thing. Like, I'm happy to have these conversations. And yeah, so that's my thought of the day. It's a rainy day here in the UK. However, I'm actually quite happy that people are starting to get a little bit frustrated with me. And I'm not doing it intentionally. I'm not trying to be provocative as such. But for every coach that gets annoyed, there might be one coach who goes, you know what, this guy might have a point here. I'm going to literally look into this a little bit more. I'm going to do a bit more research into the stuff he's talking about. And that might hopefully change behaviour. Because at the minute, tennis is in trouble. Like the way tennis is going with pickleball and paddle, and the way tennis coaching's going in terms of people are not competing no more, we're in big trouble. And as a workforce of tennis coaches, we are the custodians of the sport these days, because tennis is a coaching business now, virtually. The sport elements is getting lost. And if we're still going to teach these outdated traditional methods that have a small impact and a small effect, and there's better and more efficient and effective ways of coaching out there, I don't have an issue with that whatsoever. As always, leave a thought or comment down below. Watch the next video, and until tomorrow, speak to you soon.